Hello YouTube, my name is Lloyd and today I want to do the second money video, which is basically around legitimacy, and it's going to start off with me explaining that property is political. Why is property political? How is property political? I'm going to go back to a conversation I had about Locke, who is a philosopher that was very influential on the American expansion, because he talked about working on land, making the land yours. Now my view is that that's the politics of the method of property that he wanted to espouse, and a method of property that encouraged expansion. So it was expedient politics. This isn't a very challenging idea. It's obvious. It's expedient politics that affected how people treated property and what they wanted from property and all the rest of it. And there was lots of land there to make property of, so they did that. Anyway, property is political. When you own property, it is only really yours, and I was explaining this at the time, when the political will or force of the area defends it in your name, or would defend it, or would support your claim to it. And in that case, it is fundamentally political. That the place where the monopoly of violence, or the place with the monopoly upon violence, would defend with that violence your claim to the property, that makes it your property. Therefore property is inherently political. Now I wanted to link this in with money and my theory of the legitimacy of money. There is an idea that gets bandied around about how can I explain it? Well, it gets explained by people saying stuff like money is the thing that we've all agreed money should be. It is the thing that we've all agreed is the accounting, is the thing that has the quality that we account things against. I think that's quite naive. I mean, that's to some extent true if we were living in a total sort of anarchy or a total democracy, in a sense, or an extremely democratic situation, or somewhere that's very loose authoritatively, or the authority is very weak, like early humans all collectively decided it was gold that they would use as their unit of account. I mean, they didn't strictly, it was like silver, and everything had value. This gets back to the whole sort of every single thing does have value and can be exchanged against each other, and you come to Aristotle's 5 qualities of money, and anything could be money. It just happens that gold and silver are the things that have those properties. So it was expedient that everybody then decided to make that thing the thing that they accounted with. So Aristotle, blah blah, where do I get to from that? So why is it the thing that our authorities legitimize and express as money with their fiat, as in it is their authority that backs the money being the money? How does that become the thing that everybody then agrees is the thing that we use as a unit of account? Well, they enforce it upon us, so we have to agree in a sense that that is the unit, and we have to pay taxes, and we have to pay them in that. So therefore we are made to agree, and in that way, in a less democratic situation, paper can be money, or paper that has been legitimized in a certain way can be made to be money. I'm going to go back, and so what is the legitimacy of the money? It's the thing that, so I think there should be some understanding of what legitimizes authority and property, and the politics of property and authority, and how that makes money come into existence. Because I think even when it's the thing that we've all agreed is money, like gold and silver, it is legitimized by its rarity, its fungibility, its divisibility, its non-corrosive qualities. It's legitimized by those qualities. It's legitimized in that way, in the same way that an authority that has the monopoly of violence legitimizes the currency, even a fiat currency which is based on debt that cannot be repaid because there's always more debt than money that exists. So I think it's a greater nuance than the idea that it's just what we agree is money, and that it's an inherently political thing. And I think that money, and the money that you use, reflects the political situation that you are in a sense that Sparta had a totalitarian state, therefore they could use little flecks of iron that had no value anywhere else in Greece, whereas the rest of Greece didn't have such an authoritarian government, or none of the other city-states had such an authoritarian government, therefore they had to use gold and silver and all the rest of that to sort of because of the absence of the totalitarianism. Also, the gold and the silver legitimizes the state in a way. If they are using the gold and silver and they are controlling it, they are controlling the thing that everybody has already agreed is money, then their authority is greater legitimized by their control of it, which is a very useful idea. Whereas when the government is delegitimizing the actual values of things in a command economy, say, where they decide, say, that gold and silver is worth less than it is, their authority is undermined, and that is an expense that the government will then have to pay for, or the authority will then have to pay for. In a sense, when the Swiss franc is pegged to the euro, there are times when the Swiss government then has to pay for that peg. You know, they have to sell francs cheap or buy euros at the wrong price, and all sorts of things that undermines the market forces and costs the government of Switzerland, in this instance, money. Literally, it costs to maintain a peg that wouldn't be there naturally, or wouldn't be there in accordance with market forces. I don't like using naturally. Naturally can be anything. People can just use the word naturally in any way, shape or form, and it doesn't even have to make sense. So I've tried to avoid saying naturally. Yeah, in accordance with market forces. Yeah. So if you undermine the actual values with your authority, it costs against your authority. And if you utilize them and control them in a way, if you take authority over the actual values of things, it embellishes your authority. And in that way, property and politics become things that are quite knitted together and interlinked. They're not separate anyway, I want to clarify. So when you have a totalitarian government that's trying, like in Venezuela, that's trying to control everything and just expropriating massive amount of the property, it will cost against their authority directly, against the authority of the government, because they're massaging and altering, and, well, not massaging, yeah, forcibly altering the prices of everything so as to change it in accordance with what they wish it to be, rather than be a reflection of the actual values of things. Yeah, so money is political, and I think that's quite clear. If you need any clarification, please get back to me or talk to me or make a comment. That would be lovely if someone made a comment. Yeah, the idea of money, property and politics being all sort of weaved together and neither one can be separated. I think that's sort of what I'm trying to get to in this talk. It's a bit of a long one. Thank you for listening. My name was Lloyd, and goodbye.